Hello, and welcome to Zero to Something, a place where we talk about founders' journeys, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. So without further ado, let's get started. When you're staring at a big decision, like quitting your job or raising money or maybe killing your favorite feature, you run all the numbers and make the pros and cons list, but something still doesn't feel right. That something might be fear or guilt, maybe your dad's voice echoing in your head, because let's be real, most of us, we don't arrive at the founder's table with a clean slate. We inherited beliefs about risk from our families and our cultures. And they're still running the background of every decision we make. Our relationship with risk isn't just rational, it's deeply emotional, often subconscious and almost always inherited. As kids, we learn what's safe and what's dangerous. We know all those things before we even learn how to spell cap table. Some families glorify boldness. Fortune favors the brave. Others push caution. Don't fix what isn't broken. These messages become internal scripts. They whisper, don't mess this up. Play it safe. Bet on yourself. Don't be reckless. In Russian, we have a saying, кто не рискует, тот не пьет шампанское, which means those who don't risk, don't drink champagne. My family took it seriously. And apparently, we really love our champagne. There is an interesting difference with my parents. My mom, a complete risk taker. She moved across a massive country when she was 17 years old. She started a company when she was very young, and made big life decisions with her gut, not spreadsheets or pros and cons lists. When I moved to a new country at 16, it didn't feel scary. It was kind of natural. That was the environment that I was raised in. She empowered me to believe that risk was not only okay, it was sometimes necessary, a tool, path to freedom. My dad, he lives on the opposite end of the risk spectrum. He is a planner, a person who prepares for the future 5 steps ahead, even if the problems that he's preparing for don't exist yet. I tell him something is going well with my company, and he'll say, that's great, but have you thought about insert 14 disaster scenarios here? And as much as I love him, this drives me nuts. Meanwhile, the way I treat risk and don't think that far ahead about every little possibility going wrong, that drives him slightly insane too. It's funny how two completely different operating systems function in one family. One is jumping off of cliffs, and the other is building safety nets for cliffs that haven't even formed yet. My co-founder's background, for example, is also very interesting. He was raised in a completely risky environment in the sense of that his parents ran businesses and they had many businesses that failed multiple times over and over again. And then from something like 10th try, it boomed. It was a very, very successful business. So what did it teach him? That failure is part of the process, that pivoting is normal, and that success isn't just linear. It's built on patterns, on failing and learning and figuring it all out. When we had to pivot our ICP, he didn't flinch. He said, yeah, we'll try this. That's how it works. We try, doesn't work, we change and adapt. His family's story made him comfortable with failure and risk. There is another side of the whole risk-taking thing. I'm a first-generation immigrant, and I live kind of in between the two realities. On one hand, I've gotten used to extreme uncertainty. Visa processes, immigration policies, legal systems that just change overnight sometimes. And I've moved countries, I've built from scratch, I've lived without a safety net. I can handle risk. But because so much of that is outside my control, I crave stability somewhere. And when I don't have it, even in unrelated areas, I can feel emotionally destabilized. That tension makes immigrant founders uniquely resilient and uniquely exhausted. We take risks others wouldn't even dream of, but we also carry invisible weights others never think about. You don't need me to explain why risk is such a huge topic in startups. Obviously, every part of a startup, especially early on, is highly risky. But here are a couple questions for each area that you can ask yourself to uncover those patterns that you might be holding. For example, when it comes to fundraising, ask yourself, Do you avoid asking for more than you think you deserve? Do you feel shame or discomfort when pitching, like you're being too much for hiring and firing employees? Do you hold onto underperformers because your family taught you to value loyalty above everything else and firing them feels like a betrayal? And when you need to pivot, think, does changing your strategy feel like giving up or like growing up? Quitting a stable job, launching early, expanding and asking for money, hiring and firing people. These all feel like business decisions, but they're also personal risk choices shaped by inherited writing. So what can we do about those patterns? Well, if you are watching this just to recognize them, that is okay. Sometimes we don't have to do anything. We just accept how we think, and that's that. You don't need to fix every little thing about yourself. But if you want to influence it in any way, then you can do so as well. And the first step for that is to start noticing the voice. When you hesitate, ask, whose voice is that? Is it really yours? Don't shame yourself. Let go of that. Maybe you're not risk averse. Maybe you were taught that safety is love, and that is all right too. You can always reframe that, say, this fear isn't irrational. It's just outdated. You can always use journaling prompts to try and get to the origin of the voice you're hearing. And I will give 2 prompts at the end as usual. And you can always talk it out. Therapist, coach, mentor, someone outside your system who can hold up a mirror to you. You can also always experiment. Take small risks intentionally. Build evidence that not all discomfort is bad. Risk in general is rarely about numbers. It's about stories, the ones we were told, the ones we inherited, and the ones we never questioned. As founders, we make high-stake decisions on a daily basis. But before you beat yourself up for hesitating and not being sure or throwing yourself into chaos without thinking, pause and ask, is this fear mine? You don't have to throw away your past. You just have the freedom to not allow it to rule over you if you choose so. And as promised, I'm leaving you with 2 reflection prompts. Question 1. What stories about risk and success did you inherit from your family or culture? And question 2. Where in your startup journey are you reacting from fear that isn't actually yours? Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next episode.